Hi there. Kristen here. Okay, so for anyone who maybe it slipped under the radar or we've forgotten, whatever. So today is Spring Equinox here in the Northern Hemisphere. Some would call this Ostara. This is a day when there is equal light, equal day, right? Equal sunshine and equal night, equal darkness. It is this kind of time of year where we can honor balance and harmony. We can honor the goodness that is in both the light and the dark. We can honor the shadow that also exists in both the light and the dark. Here, because this is spring equinox, it's kind of this tipping point into the kind of warmer, vibrant energy of summer. It is, for me, a time to really honor just balance and harmony. Super important, especially right now, that we remember that light cannot exist without darkness, right? What is light, right, without darkness? It's also really important to remember that, like, light, right, day, whatever, life is not inherently good. And like darkness, right, nighttime, death is not inherently bad, right? They're just two sides of the same coin, right? Like a lot of people think about like yin and yang. But really, like, I like that I'm like sitting behind this circle because like right now, like everything is a cycle. Everything comes in a circle. And right now we're in one point, and it's really hard sometimes when we have this like tiny micro perspective of something to remember that like all things come around, right? So like here in the Northern Hemisphere, it's spring equinox, right? So it's this budding of new life, this new day, this kind of like this, you know, all the seeds or blooms that are, you know, beneath the earth, like putting their roots down in winter, like ready to be like, I'm here. Well, in the Southern Hemisphere, right, it's the opposite. It's fall. It's like Melbourne, right? It's the Fall Equinox. It's this shifting point towards winter, right? This beginning of kind of shedding what we don't need so that we can move into this kind of like dark hibernation kind of self-care period, right? So like, even though up here right now in this moment in time, we're getting ready to bloom, right? On the other side of the world, it's quite the opposite. They're at a different point in this same circle, right? So I know that for me, one of the ways that I survive this world is through remembering cycles, right? Like everything comes in cycles. Change is inevitable. We're always moving along the cyclical path, right? And so on this day, in the midst of all this uncertainty, in the midst of all this kind of upheaval, right? Let's remember this, like, this balance that can be found, right? Even though not very long ago, it was dark a lot more than it was light. Here we've arrived at a point where there's equal dark, equal night, or equal light and dark. Yeah, I also think it's really important for us to remember that, like, birth, right? Whether we're talking like the way that we as animals give birth, or if we're talking about like how seeds kind of like shoot forth from their like seed shell, right? It's messy, right? It's not, it's like once you're back away from it, it's like this beautiful thing. It's life, it's birth. But like when you're in it, it is not that beautiful. It's actually like really like, I mean, I can't speak from experience, but it's like painful, right? Like, I think we can all agree whether or not we've done that or not. Like, I mean, even watching like seeds like break through their shell, like there's some like massive force that has to push through to propel life into being, right? So let's remember all of this as we, are taking stock and stilling, slowing, reflecting, consuming, whatever we're doing right now, like creating, right? Like, let's remember that creating new life can be a pretty violent amount of force needs to be put forth for life to come into being. And also that like balance and harmony can be achieved and is achieved, even if only for a brief moment, one single day where it's balanced. And then the balance shifts again. And then we come back and it's balanced and the balance shifts again, right? So let's just hold that for ourselves, right? As we sit with this uncertainty, as we sit with all this newness, with this huge change that's come to us. It is still possible for the sun to move around. Well, we're moving, right? But like, perceivably move around, rise and set, right? And it's still possible for day and night to exist in harmony, have equal balance. This duality, right? The two sides of this story are actually one whole. Anyways, happy Ostara, happy Spring Equinox, happy Fall Equinox to anyone who's in the Southern Hemisphere. What can we do today to feel more in balance? What can we do today to honor the light within us, but also honor the shadow within us, right? We are one.